Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we got an Enchanter top tier list. I have played every Enchanter in top lane and I have reached 675 LP Grandmaster with only Enchanters. And here's my take on what is the best and worst Enchanters for top lane. Let's get into it. Starting off, we're going to be talking about the categories we will be going over. So that includes wave clear, ruins and builds, skirmish potential, sustain, 2v2, 3v3, early, mid, and late game scaling, as well as strong side and weak side. So let's get into it. Karma has great wave clear, has a diverse ruin page. You can go grasp, comet, airy, can build her build varies, so she can go AP, enchanter, or a hybrid build. She has crazy skirmish potential with mantra Q and W, and with E to block damage to get quick trades off. She has great sustain with E damage block as well as mantra W. In 2v2 and 3v3, she's one of the best enchanters with damage, and with Mantra Q or E is really the best in these team fights. Unless you are first contact and you're low HP, you can start off the fight with a Mantra W. Karma scales really well with her AP or Enchanter slash hybrid build, especially if she goes Gathering Storm. She is strong throughout every point of the game. If you do want to get into Enchanter's top, this is a champion I would definitely recommend. She is great strong-sided, she's great weak-sided, she can survive the long lane. Saraka has good wave clear with 3 points into Q into W max. You can build Airy with Enchanter build. There's 2 AP items that you can go, which is Seraph's or Rod of Ages, but I prefer Seraph's. Saraka has great skirmish potential with ES Peel and to create space between you and the enemy. She has amazing sustain with Q, costing so little mana, and the health regen is similar to Dr. Mundo. She has insane 2v2 and 3v3 potential, with Chain CC with Silence into a Trap, with Ally CC. She has good damage and amazing sustain with W. Saraka scales the longer you are in the game. She is decent early game, really good mid game with her 2 to 3 item power spike with Seraph's Moonstone Dawn Core as your 3 core items. She's insane late game with Gathering Storm and permanently scales. Saraka is the weak side queen. You prefer to be weak-sided since you can ult your aggressive bot lane if they are in trouble, or ult yourself if you're getting dove. I have a lot of Saraka top content already on my YouTube channel, you can check that out. Saraka can be strong-sided with slow, silence, and trap in your kit, and can survive the long lane. Lulu has good wave clear with Q and E being on a short cooldown as well as having low mana cost. Lulu's ruins can be electrocute or airy. Build can be very diverse from enchanter items to ADC items to AP items or a hybrid of all three. I do recommend enchanter or AP or a hybrid of enchanter and or AP. Her skirmish potential is great. She has good damage and utility. Her sustain is decent. She does have her E and her ult for sustain. Her 2v2 and 3v3 is great because of her utility in a mini team fight, and her damage is just amazing in those small team fights. Lulu does great in all stages of the game, can be very aggressive early game. She's honestly one of the best enchanter bullies in the game in my opinion. Lulu can be strong or weak-sided, it doesn't really matter. She does have carry potential in both situations, and she can survive the long lane. Janna has decent wave clear, ruins is airy, the build can be very diverse to any items, but it's preferred to go enchanter if not AP on hit, since your W and your autos scale with on hit due to passive conversion and speed conversion. For example, Nashers and Lichbane into basically anything or straight up enchanter. Skirmish potential is one of the best. You can be very aggressive, especially with my Janna playstyle, even at level 1. You can set up fights with your Q and also disengage any engage from tanks slash bruisers with Q and alt. Has okay sustain with E and alt sometimes. 2v2 and 3v3 is great. It has great early game damage and CC. Janna is strongest in the early and mid game, especially with the damage build. Your damage does fall off late game, but still has great heal and shield power since your E and R still scale off AP. Janna prefers to be strong-sided so she can get her AP items and snowball, but she can also be weak-sided and go enchanter. She can survive the long lane very easily because of Ghost and Q. Seraphine's wave clear is great because of her double Q. Her ruins can be first strike or airy. Her build can be Seraphs or Rod of Ages into Enchanter or Tank AP Seraphine. Scrimmage potential lacks because if you miss abilities, you can be punished by getting zoned off of XP and or minion gold. You will want to poke more rather than trading. Sustain lacks since you only have your W shield and the healing is not good when you're by yourself and it costs a lot of mana. 2v2 and 3v3 is great since you can chain CC and land abilities easier since your team can set you up. Your W will also deal more healing because it's getting hit by more people. And it'll be easier to land ultimates. Seraphine's strong suit is mid to late game. She tends to farm early on and just poke with first strike and get her items. She's kind of played like an Ornn top lane ultimate mid to late game, especially if you're going tanky Seraphine. She can be weak sided or strong sided, but you most likely want her to be weak sided so someone else can get fed and carry easier. You may want to have some safety and wards around the map because if you do miss your skill shots, you do lack mobility, so you could get dove and caught out. Nami has okay wave clear. Her runes will be Electrocute, First Strike, or Airy. Electrocute if you're going against a bruiser who will trade with you. First Strike if you can get it off easily and not lose it. And if those two don't fit in the specific game, you can go Airy. Build will consist of Enchanter items with a possible AP item such as Seraph's First. Scrimmage potential is amazing with W and E trade and Q to disengage. Fun fact, if you have E active on yourself and you cast one auto attack with a W, it will proc Electrocute since it counts as 3 abilities and or autos used. Sustain is great with W, can deal damage and regain HP for yourself just like Vladimir. 2v2, 3v3 mini teamfight potential is great. It'll be easier to land abilities and use your utility kit to help your team win fights. Nami is solid throughout each stages of the game, early, mid, and late game. Nami can be strong-sided or weak-sided since her damage with Electrocute is super strong. But if you're going First Strike or Air, your damage will lag quite a bit. If you are weak-sided, please save your bubble for defensive and reactive plays only. Can have trouble in a long lane due to lack of mobility. Sona lacks wave clear and can only do so with Q, but can last hit very well with Q and an enhanced auto attack. Ruins is airy, with your build being Seraphs and or Rod of Ages into Enchanter, such as Moonstone and Staff of Flowing Water. Sona lacks skirmish potential. She kinda just wants to poke the enemy out with her max range Q. If the enemy does get close to her, she needs to do an enhanced W into a rotation of her abilities and finish with another enhanced W if the enemy is still attacking her. Sona has weak sustain early but can be good with items and upgrading W after Q, so scaling sustain. 2v2 and 3v3 is great with an exhaust built into her kit and with Q having a buff recently in the previous patches. Sona permanently scales with Gathering Storm as well as her passive allowing her to scale almost infinitely. Sona can be strong-sided or weak-sided. She can potentially survive the long lane due to her E and her utility, but scary in the very early game without your components of Seraphs and or Rod of Ages. Millio has decent wave clear in the early game. When fully maxed Q, you can one-shot more than half of the wave, so 3 casters and 1 melee. Ruins will be Comet or Airy, most likely Comet. Your build will consist of full AP and some Enchanter. You need AP to clear the wave. Scrimmage is strong due to passive damage and the 120 AP ratio on Millio Q. You have amazing sustain with E shielding through trades and W for healing. 2v2 and 3v3 is strong since you can buff your allies and not having to rely on landing your Q by yourself. You can have setup from your allies so you can secure your Q. Millio is strong throughout the game and can permanently scale with Gathering Storm, so you can deal most damage with Millio Q. You can be strong-sided or weak-sided. You have decent survivability with your E movement speed, but is scary if you don't land your Q. Senna has great wave clear. Ruins can consist of Airy, Fleet Footwork, or Grasp. Build can consist of either Helium Moonstone, Black Cleaver, Rapid Fire, or Yuntal into IE, or a hybrid of all those combinations together. Ardent is a very good item in all of these builds if it works well with your team, since it works really well with your champion. Skirmishes is great due to your peel and your range. You have good sustain with your Q in all builds. 2v2 and 3v3 is great due to being an ADC type of champion, especially since the buffs of soul drop and crit chance. Permanently scales strong throughout the game, especially mid to late game. Can be strong-sided or weak-sided, can potentially survive the long lane with your E movement speed, but you have to land W. Ranata has okay wave clear with her E and autos. Her ruins can be Grasp, Airy, or Comet. Her build can consist of utility support items such as Redemption, Locket, and Fimbulwinter, or AP tank items such as Liandry's, or a hybrid build and a mixture of both. Scrimmage potential is decent with good poke and disengage with Q to win trades. Sustain is okay with only small E shields. 2v2 and 3v3 is very strong due to bailout, which is your W for your teammates. Renata does better mid to late game when she can use her ult in team fight. She can be weak sided, only strong side if you want your jungler to get free kills with your setup from your slow with your E and your trap with your Q and your pullback with your Q. She can survive the long lane through CC and how tanky she gets. On to our final enchanter for top lane. Our worst enchanter is Yumi. Yumi has trash wave clear, you don't have any at all. Your ruins can be Grasp or Airy. Grasp is only for sustain and lane, it's useless later on. Airy if you don't need Grasp and you think you can survive without it. Build will be Doran's Ring start into Enchanter / utility, so Shirelia's a redemption if you really need either of those two to help yourself. Skirmish potential lacks, but it can be done if you have proper spacing and kiting with attack speed and MS with your E and your slow with your Q. Sustain is pretty good with Grasp and E shield. 2v2 and 3v3 is your favorite time to shine since you can play Yumi normally by jumping on someone. Yumi scales the longer you are in the game, since she has great scaling with her items and she will be on somebody mid to late game 99% of the time. That is the time, of course, where Yumi shines. Yumi can be strong-sided or weak-sided. Only time she is strong-sided is going to be to get your jungler ahead, and it's most likely going to be your duo. If she is weak-sided, she is most likely going to get tower dove. Having a counter gank from your jungler is beneficial to Yumi since they will dive Yumi 99% of the time, and your jungler can get fed very easily because people will ego the Yumi and they won't expect the jungler to be there because the enemy team will think that you are weak siding the Yumi, but you can actually strong side the Yumi. She can't survive the long lane, so you have to be careful when you push and watch out for ganks. To help to survive the long lane, I recommend heal for the movement speed and sustain with ignite or exhaust. Well, that concludes our Enchanter top tier list. If you guys did enjoy the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you guys do want more of this content, I do play Enchanters mid and ADC as well. So if you guys do want those tier lists, I can definitely make them if this does get popular. I'm also starting to play Enchanters in the jungle, so possibly in the long run future, I can do a tier list for that as well. Well, I hope you guys have a good day and see you next time.